Have you ever wondered what really happens to your body if you continue to masturbate daily, well into your 70s? It's a topic that's rarely discussed openly, even though it touches on something deeply human and relevant for many adults as they age. Maybe you've heard rumors, snippets of advice from long-forgotten health magazines, or even quiet conversations between friends about whether it's healthy, harmful, or just plain normal to continue a solo sexual practice in your later years. Today, we're going to have the conversation most people shy away from, one that's grounded in medical facts, compassionate understanding, and the realities of living in a body that has accumulated 7 decades of experience. And don't worry, this isn't a lecture designed to shame, scare, or sensationalize. It's a thoughtful look at what science and doctors actually say about daily masturbation at age 70, and how it affects your physical health, emotional well-being, and even cognitive function. Why does this matter so much for those of us over 60? Because sexuality doesn't simply switch off as we age, even though society sometimes makes it seem like it should. Many older adults still feel desire, curiosity, and the need for intimacy, both with others and within themselves. At the same time, our bodies change, and so do the potential risks and benefits of practices we might have taken for granted when we were younger. Masturbation is more than just a habit. It intersects with heart health, hormonal balance, mood stability, sleep quality, and even prostate and pelvic health, all areas that are particularly significant for people in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. Yet misinformation and stigma can make it hard to find clear answers. In this video, we're going to unpack exactly what happens when someone at 70 years old masturbates daily. We'll look at what modern doctors and research say about how it affects your heart, your hormones, your mental sharpness, and even your risk of certain diseases. We'll explore whether daily self-pleasure is something that helps maintain vitality, or whether it could cause strain or issues that you deserve to be aware of. Along the way, I'll share insights into how older adults can make informed, confident choices about their bodies, ones that enhance quality of life and personal comfort, not add confusion or worry. By the end of this conversation, you'll have a clear understanding of how daily masturbation interacts with the aging body and mind, what signs to watch for, and how to talk about this topic more openly, whether with your doctor, your partner, or simply within your own reflections. Let's set aside outdated taboos and look honestly at the intersection of aging, sexuality, and health. So with that in mind, let's dive into the context and foundational knowledge you need to understand how your body responds to this common yet often misunderstood habit. When we talk about masturbation in the context of aging, it's important first to understand how both the body and mind naturally change as we enter our 60s, 70s, and beyond. For many people, sexual health has long been framed as something that peaks in youth and gradually diminishes with age, but modern science paints a more nuanced picture. Sexual desire does not simply disappear at a certain birthday. Instead, it evolves alongside other shifts in our physical and emotional health. Our hormone levels, blood flow, nerve sensitivity, and even muscle tone adjust as part of the aging process. And these changes shape how sexual pleasure, including solo practices like masturbation, is experienced. One of the primary biological players in this conversation is testosterone. While it's often thought of as a male hormone, both men and women produce it, and it plays a key role in libido, mood, and energy. For men, testosterone levels typically decline about 1% per year after age 30 or 40, but the process is gradual and highly individual. Similarly, women experience a sharp decline in estrogen and testosterone around menopause, which can alter sexual sensation and arousal patterns. These hormonal shifts don't eliminate sexual interest. They simply modulate it, often in ways that people don't fully expect or understand. Masturbation, in this context, can be both a way to maintain hormonal balance and to stay connected to one's evolving body. Another crucial factor is blood circulation. As we age, our blood vessels may stiffen slightly, and blood flow efficiency can decrease, especially if conditions like hypertension or diabetes are present. Good circulation is vital for sexual response, as arousal depends heavily on the delivery of oxygen and nutrients to sensitive tissues. Masturbation, by stimulating these areas regularly, can potentially help sustain healthy blood flow and pelvic muscle tone, a fact that is often overlooked in mainstream discussions. Emotionally and cognitively, the role of sexuality also shifts with age. For many older adults, masturbation offers not just physical release, but stress relief, improved sleep quality, and a way to boost endorphins and dopamine, chemicals that elevate mood and contribute to feelings of satisfaction and calm. In a stage of life where issues like loneliness, loss, and changing social dynamics can weigh heavily, maintaining practices that enhance mental and emotional well-being becomes more than just pleasurable. It becomes part of holistic self-care. Furthermore, doctors are increasingly recognizing that regular sexual activity, solo or partnered, may have links to cognitive sharpness and mental clarity. Some studies suggest that the hormonal surges and neurological stimulation associated with sexual activity can benefit brain function, memory, and mood regulation, though research is still evolving in this area. For older adults seeking ways to stay mentally agile and emotionally resilient, masturbation can be one piece of a much larger puzzle. In short, masturbation in later life sits at the intersection of hormonal health, cardiovascular well-being, emotional balance, and even cognitive support. But these benefits don't exist in a vacuum. And like any regular activity, daily masturbation also introduces considerations that deserve close attention. As we move forward, we'll explore what doctors caution about potential downsides, how to recognize when frequency might be too much for your body, and how to strike a balance that supports long-term health and vitality. Now that we understand how masturbation connects with the natural changes that come with age, it's time to look at what actually happens when someone in their 70s engages in daily masturbation. Doctors emphasize that while solo sexual activity can be perfectly healthy at any age, the effects on the body at 70 may look different compared to when we were 30 or 40. First and foremost, let's consider the cardiovascular system. Sexual arousal and orgasm are forms of mild physical exertion. They cause increases in heart rate, blood pressure, and respiratory rate. For many older adults, particularly those with underlying heart disease, this spike is usually well tolerated if overall health is good. However, when masturbation is daily and especially vigorous, it can act as a form of repetitive cardiovascular strain. If the heart is already compromised or arteries are narrowed, some doctors advise being mindful of how one's body responds, watching for signs like chest tightness, dizziness, or breathlessness during or after the activity. Next comes the nervous system. Orgasm releases a cascade of neurochemicals, including dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins, which are powerful mood enhancers. But with daily stimulation, there's a possibility of what some researchers call receptor fatigue. This means that if the brain's reward system is triggered too frequently, its sensitivity might slightly diminish over time, leading to a reduced sense of satisfaction or the need for longer or more intense stimulation to achieve the same effect. This isn't inevitable, but it is something doctors are beginning to study more closely, especially in the context of aging brains where dopamine production naturally declines. For people in their 70s, it's wise to be aware of how emotional and mental satisfaction shifts with daily repetition. Another area that deserves attention is skin and tissue health. With age, skin thins and becomes less elastic, and mucous membranes may dry out, particularly for women after menopause. Daily friction, if not accompanied by appropriate lubrication or gentle techniques, can cause microtears, irritation, or discomfort in sensitive genital tissues. Doctors recommend paying attention to how tissues feel before, during, and after masturbation and adjusting techniques to avoid unnecessary strain or damage. Regular masturbation can actually help maintain elasticity and blood flow, but overdoing it without care may backfire. Hormonal balance also plays an interesting role here. For men, frequent ejaculation has been linked in some studies to benefits like reduced prostate cancer risk, possibly due to regular clearing of prostate fluids. But extremely frequent ejaculation, every single day, may temporarily lower testosterone levels in the short term, which could affect energy, mood, or libido if the body isn't given enough time to recover. For women, regular orgasm can help sustain pelvic muscle tone and vaginal elasticity, but excessive friction without comfort measures may lead to irritation or even urinary tract discomfort. Finally, it's worth touching on emotional patterns. Daily masturbation, for some, is a fulfilling routine. For others, it can become a coping mechanism for loneliness, boredom, or anxiety. Doctors caution that while sexual self-care is a valid and healthy outlet, it's important to check in with oneself about motivations. If masturbation starts to replace social interaction, meaningful hobbies, or other fulfilling activities, it could signal an imbalance that deserves gentle reflection or discussion with a healthcare provider. The bottom line is that daily masturbation at 70 isn't automatically harmful or beneficial. It depends heavily on the individual's health, body awareness, and lifestyle. Understanding how your cardiovascular system, nervous system, skin, hormones, and emotions interact with regular sexual activity empowers you to make choices that support your well-being. In the next part, we'll focus on how to apply these insights practically, ensuring that masturbation remains a source of comfort, vitality, and balance in your life. With a clear understanding of both the benefits and potential considerations of daily masturbation at 70, it becomes even more important to talk about how to approach this practice in a way that promotes lasting health and comfort. For many adults in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, sexual well-being is less about frequency and more about quality, balance, and mindfulness. The first step is to listen carefully to your body's natural rhythms. Some days you might feel more energized and interested in sexual release, while other days you may notice lower energy or slight discomfort. Allowing yourself the flexibility to respond to those shifts, rather than adhering strictly to a daily routine out of habit, often leads to a more satisfying experience. Paying attention to signals like lingering soreness, reduced sensitivity, or a dip in mood can help guide how often and how intensely you engage in masturbation. Comfort is key as our skin and tissues change with age. Using a high-quality, fragrance-free lubricant can make a significant difference, reducing friction and protecting delicate areas. Warm baths or gentle massage beforehand can increase blood flow and relax muscles, making the experience smoother and more pleasurable. Equally important is varying technique. Exploring different pressures, positions, and sensations not only prevents repetitive strain, but can also reignite curiosity and enjoyment. Many people discover that slower, more mindful stimulation feels more rewarding at 70 than the quick routines of their younger years. From a health perspective, integrating pelvic floor exercises, such as Kegels, into your routine can enhance muscle tone and circulation, supporting sexual function and urinary health alike. Regular stretching, walking, and hydration all contribute to better blood flow and tissue resilience, which in turn can enhance sexual satisfaction. If you have conditions like diabetes or cardiovascular disease, it's wise to have open conversations with your doctor about sexual activity. Many physicians today are trained to address these topics sensitively and can offer personalized advice to ensure that masturbation remains safe and comfortable for you. Emotionally, it's helpful to view masturbation as one tool among many for relaxation and well-being. Balancing it with activities like socializing, volunteering, creative hobbies, and spending time outdoors creates a richer, more fulfilling life tapestry. Some older adults find that incorporating mindfulness practices, such as deep breathing or meditation, into their solo intimacy enhances not only pleasure, but also emotional connection to their bodies. It transforms masturbation from a mere habit into an act of self-care and appreciation. If you ever notice that masturbation is starting to feel more like a compulsion, something you do automatically without much enjoyment, or that displaces other activities, it can be useful to gently reflect on why that might be happening. Sometimes boredom, loneliness, or stress can push us toward repetitive behaviors. Simply recognizing that and introducing small changes to your daily routine can restore balance without judgment or guilt. Ultimately, the goal is not to prescribe a rigid schedule, but to empower you with options and understanding. Masturbation can remain a vibrant, enjoyable part of your life at 70 and beyond when approached with care, curiosity, and attention to your changing needs. In our final section, we'll wrap up these key ideas and offer a thoughtful closing reflection on maintaining sexual well-being as part of a healthy, happy life. As we wrap up this conversation, it's clear that masturbation in your 70s, or at any stage of later life, is far more than just a physical act. It sits at the intersection of body awareness, emotional well-being, and personal comfort. We've explored how, for older adults, solo sexual activity can play a positive role in supporting circulation, hormonal balance, mood regulation, and even cognitive sharpness. We've also acknowledged the importance of tuning into your body's evolving signals, using comfort-enhancing practices like lubrication and varied technique, and balancing this intimate activity with other fulfilling parts of life. These are the keys to making sure that masturbation remains not only pleasurable, but also sustainable as part of your ongoing self-care. One of the most empowering takeaways here is the realization that sexuality does not have an expiration date. The cultural myth that intimacy, whether with a partner or oneself, is something left behind in youth is steadily dissolving. Instead, people aged 60 and above are reclaiming their right to pleasure, connection, and bodily appreciation. Whether you choose to masturbate daily, a few times a week, or simply when the mood strikes, the most important thing is that you feel informed, confident, and in harmony with your unique needs. If at any point questions arise about your sexual health, don't hesitate to have an open, honest conversation with a healthcare provider who respects the reality that intimacy is lifelong. Perhaps the most valuable idea to carry forward is that self-care, in all its forms, is an act of respect for yourself. Masturbation can be a beautiful expression of that. A moment where you tune into what feels good, what brings relaxation, and what connects you to your body's changing rhythms. It can be comforting, empowering, and even joyful. By making small adjustments, staying attentive to how you feel, and embracing the flexibility to adapt as your body evolves, you give yourself the gift of sustained vitality and pleasure. I'd like to thank you for spending this time exploring such an important and often under-discussed topic. If you found this conversation helpful, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss future videos that explore health, wellness, and lifestyle insights for adults in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. Your experiences and thoughts matter, so feel free to share in the comments what your biggest takeaway from today's video was, or what other topics you'd like to learn more about. By joining the conversation, you help create a community where open, respectful dialogue about aging and well-being can flourish. And if you think someone in your life could benefit from this information, consider sharing this video with them. It might just open up a meaningful conversation. Above all, remember that taking care of your mind, body, and spirit is a lifelong journey. Stay curious, stay kind to yourself, and know that pleasure and connection, in whatever form feels right for you, are timeless parts of a healthy, happy life.